Welcome to the Willie Morgan Show. It's a fortnightly show, and I have to be honest with you, it's my favourite time. Every time these shows come up per month. Willie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Been a couple of weeks. The weather's been quite good down here the last 2 weeks. So I've got a lot of golf in, playing with my grandson Alex, and it's been okay. I mean, apart from Crystal Palace coming for a visit to Manchester, other than that, it's been not too bad. Oh my God. So, as always, I've got a few hellos, if you don't mind, to get on with. First of all, one is to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine, I haven't seen him for probably 60 years, Callum. He was a left winger. He's from Socky. He played for Partick Thistle, Hearts, Wigan. He's called Jim Fleming. And now Jim is now living up Inverness way, I think up in Ross, way up there, and he's not been very well. So Jim, if you're watching at all, pal, I hope you get better. I hope things are going to be okay for you up there. And maybe one day it'd be lovely to meet up. Jim was a great left winger. So you take care of yourself. The other one that I played in the golf day at Muir on Monday. The lad called John Whelan, and John is associated with Stockport County, and he wants me to wish Stockport and all their fans all the very best for this coming season. So John, I hope they have a good season for you, pal, and your golf day was brilliant. Sadly, I didn't win, we're only third. The two sisters who ran my fan club, well, they created the fan club and ran the fan club. I haven't spoken to them since I left Burnley. The Brunskill sisters, Linda and Liz, if you're still, hopefully still around over that way, just to say thank you. I've never got a chance to meet up after I left Burnley. Just to say thank you for all the work you did. And to Donovan, I believe Donovan was the president of my fan club. I've never met him. So, Donovan, if you're still out there, pal, thank you. Now then, Burnley. Big match coming up, isn't it? Burnley, Man United for me. And obviously, I've got a lot of friends still at Burnley. Three of them, Simon Rain, Jason Fields, and Alistair. He's got a new book out. Alistair, for you three, I hope it's a draw, then we'll all be happy. I hope Burnley have another good season, and look forward to meeting up with you again. There are three artists. One is supposedly, arguably, the greatest living portrait painter on the planet, Harold Riley. And Harold painted me, and he's not been very well. And Harold, I hope you're feeling a bit better now. And the other two, Lincoln Townley. Lincoln is married, got married to a good friend of ours, Denise Welsh. And he also did a painting of me, which is unusual, as he does. He is now out in Hollywood most of the time, painting all the big stars in Hollywood. He's done amazing well for himself. And Lincoln, thank you for my painting. And last but not least, young Matty Richards. Matty did one, got it at Christmas, and he has a chance to be a great painter. And I wish him all the best for the future. I got asked a question on the last show, and I didn't hear it properly. They asked me who I thought was the most overrated player. I thought it was in England or in Britain. It wasn't. It was the most overrated player on the planet, they asked. You should have corrected me anyway. I blame you. Well, there's two. I know that I said Dele Alli. I've just been looking. Apparently, he's not in the team either. So Mourinho must be listening to the show. But on the planet, there are two who stand out. One is more famous than the other. Neymar is the most overrated player on this planet. And if Sanchez was better known, he's even worse. He's dreadful. So that answers your question from 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry I got it wrong. Over to you, Captain.
I have to be honest with you, Willie. When you mentioned Dele Alli in the last show, it was one of those things that a few people got in touch to say, I think that could be seen as being a bit harsh. And then I don't think they'll be saying that anymore. He's out the team and Mourinho wants him out of Tottenham.
Well, you know, nothing against the lad. I hope wherever he goes, he does well. He just always seems to get bummed up, and for me, he's lightweight. So, but whatever, I still wish him all the best, obviously.
I want to get your honest opinion, Willie, on the situation at Manchester United. Now, before we talk about the Crystal Palace result and obviously the Brighton game, which was interesting for many reasons, the Manchester United board are under a lot of pressure at the moment because the fan base is accusing them of not backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. He signed Donny van de Beek, another midfielder from Ajax, highly rated, but that's the only arrival so far. Do you feel that if they don't back Ole this summer, he could be in a difficult situation? The reason I ask you this is because Roy Keane last night on television said if Ole doesn't finish in the top four, he will leave the club.
I saw Roy. I like Roy because he tells the truth. And he's one of the very few so-called pundits who does tell the truth. So, yeah, finishing the top four, there's no reason why they shouldn't, just because of the amount of players they have and the fact that the rest of the teams are really average. I mean, you take Man City and Liverpool out of the equation, the rest of them are throw a blanket over them. So we should finish in the top. I hope it does for Ole's sake. The board not backing him, who do you buy? Tell me who you buy. What do they want? Who do they want them to buy? I mean, it's crazy. The worst thing, you know, Ole, and I like the guy. I like him very much, and I hope he gets the 5 years to rebuild completely. The one thing that I don't understand what he hasn't done, the reason he got the job in the first place, because Mourinho and whatever his name was it Van der Valk? No, he's a detective, isn't it? Yeah, well, he should have been one of them, yeah. They left him with the worst bunch of players in the history of the club. And he's not got rid of them. They're still there. They're still there. I cannot believe that Ole hasn't got rid of these players. And then buy new players, no matter who it is. But he has to get rid of the people who got him the job in the first place. That's the reason he's there, because they're so bad. But they're still there. That's what I don't understand. And he's still playing them. It's crazy. Matic, Pogba, and the back four, my God. Anyway, so it's hard. You can't criticise the board. I mean, they spent nearly £1 billion on players over the last few years. I mean, it's unbelievable. So you can't say they've not put the money where their mouth is. They have. It's who do you buy? Who's out there? You know, you got to be like, you find a Mo Salah. I mean, no one would have bought him in a million years. And look what he's done. He's been fantastic. I mean, I rate him so highly. He's a great player. But Klopp saw that. And that's what we've got to be looking for. Not so-called names, because there are none. Sadly, Lionel's not going to be moving, we don't think now. So I don't know. I mean, for me, he has to get rid of the rubbish that's there. It was there when he came. He's got to get rid of them first. And then hopefully, you know, give us a chance to do something and certainly finish in the top four. I can't see us winning the league. I mean, obviously, we're not going to win the league. But we'll see. I just, you got to give him time. You got to give him time. And I was quite amused with Liverpool's sloppy play last night, Roy, if you're watching. Ah, my goodness. But they are a bit dodgy at the back as well. They're not that clever. I think Leeds showed that. And I mean, last night they were 1 down. But it was very interesting to see Klopp's reaction. I loved it. I had a good chuckle.
It certainly was a talking point, and something that I don't imagine the reaction you enjoyed so much was your reaction when Crystal Palace beat Manchester United. What was your thoughts watching that game in the opening day of the season?
Well, I honestly thought we were won quite easy. You know, just the fact we're at home, it's the opening day of the season, they're all going to be playing at 150% because they all want to prove that they're still good enough. It was heartbreaking. Crystal Palace, I mean, it's not like it was Real Madrid or Barcelona or somebody. Crystal Palace. We just look, I don't know. Well, I do know. He's still got the players that got him the job. Get rid of them. He has to get rid of them because there's going to be a lot more results like that. Brighton, I mean, how many goals should Brighton have scored? We've got no defence. You could take a double-decker bus through the defence. They're really bad. And I keep saying about Dyche or De Gea, as my wife keeps telling me, he's called because she speaks Spanish. Anyway, Dyche, I feel sorry for him. You know, he's in a no-win situation. He's behind a dreadful defence, and he's paying the price now. We just gotta hope it gets better. The Burnley game will be interesting. I don't know if it's been rearranged yet. I know they've been trying to rearrange it, but it will be interesting to see how we go on. So, as I said, I know that Simon, Jason, and Alistair, Mr. Campbell, they'll all be hoping that they get the result. But a draw would be nice for me.
Well, it's going to be interesting when that game does get rearranged because Burnley, you mentioned your old club Burnley, Sean Dyche, he's done an incredible job there. And every single season, he talks about the need for the club to back him to make the squad just that wee bit bigger in case of injuries.
Well, he keeps saying it, but he keeps doing a good job without the great big squad. So, I mean, he's done a phenomenal job. Do you need a big squad? I'm not so sure. He's done great with the squad that he has, however small it may be. He's done great. And I'm a great believer you play your best 11 at all times. All this rotation rubbish that the coaches brought in, another coach's invention, rotating players, absolute garbage. You play your best 11 at all times. That's what you do. And he does that. Obviously, he does that. And he's been fantastic for Burnley. I hope he stays there. And I hope they have another great season.
One of the clubs out with United and Burnley I want to ask you about actually is Everton. Everton have started the season particularly well. Have you enjoyed watching them and James Rodriguez, a player who, well, a lot of people thought was a luxury, but he's played really well so far? Yeah,
they've done well. I haven't seen them, to be honest, but the 3 results have been amazing. I mean, the 2 away wins, incredible. Ancelotti obviously knows what he's doing, and it doesn't take a lot. You know, I keep saying, most of the teams are very average. So you only need one team to have a little bit of luck and a little bit of good run. You know, your strikers getting a few goals, and it just makes all the difference. And a little bit of confidence makes all the difference in the league at the moment. And they're doing that. Whether they'll sustain the run or not, I don't know. I hope so. They've been in the doldrums for a long time. And I hope that they have a good run. It'd be interesting to see Liverpool Everton this year. It'd be a good game this year. Be a different game from the previous ones.
You would definitely think so, and something else that I want to ask you about, a strange situation, and obviously I'm not making light of the pandemic, it's a terrible situation at the moment. David Moyes tested positive for COVID-19, although he was asymptomatic, and it's been reported that he is fine and well, but obviously he's isolating at the moment. Unfortunately for David Moyes, it's funny how football works. Since he's been away from West Ham, watching from home, the team have picked up 2 impressive victories. How would you have coped with that during your time if Sir Matt was away for whatever reason?
You know my thoughts on David Moyes when he was at Man United. He wasn't the right man. He just wasn't up to it. Wasn't good enough. Good luck to him. I hope he's well. By the way, David, if you do happen to watch the show, I do hope you're well and get over this. And, he's in a job. And he keeps getting a job. And wherever he goes, he does all right. I don't think you can look into it too much, the fact that he's at home. Just maybe they're playing without tactics and they're just enjoying themselves, as they should be. And they're not under the pressure of coaches or a coach and the tactics. So maybe that's what it is. The players, got a little bit of freedom to express. That's the great thing about Liverpool. They express themselves. They're not playing to plans all the time and doing this. They have freedom. It looks like they have, certainly up front they have. They've got freedom to play. And it's been successful for them. Klopp is yeah, okay, he's classed as a coach. But he could have been one of the old managers, man manager. I think he's brilliant. I really do rate the guy. So, but I hope David gets well, and maybe he should stay at home for 2-3 months and see how the team does. Only kidding, David.
I don't want to remind you of Father Time, Willie, but you're a lot older than when you were playing football. But having watched Fulham this season, I think at your current age, you'd be fancying yourself for a hat-trick or 2 in that playing against them.
Oh, listen. There's so many. There's no defenders anymore, Callum. Wing backs. What's a wing back? Somebody that can't defend and somebody that can't attack. So they become a wing back. They become a nothing. And there's lots of them. And sadly, we've got some of them. They can't defend. I mean, in the old days, fullback was a fullback. He was there to defend. He was there to do a job and stop the winger. Nowadays, I don't know. It's just a different game. And I know that some people say, oh, well, you've got rose-coloured glasses. The team from my era would destroy the teams nowadays. They couldn't stop the forward line. And their forwards wouldn't get past their defenders. I mean, people like Tony Dunn, Ray Wilson, all the great, none of these people would go past them because they were just defenders. That's what their job was. It's a different game, and you just have to get on with it. So I have a few gripes about this and that, but that's the game as it is now, and we just got to watch it and hope that they don't get coached too much.
One of the key games that's coming up soon, and it leads perfectly into our listeners' questions, is Scotland versus Israel. Scotland need to win this game to have the chance of getting to a playoff for Euro 2020, although it will be played in 2021. And the first question comes in from John Bleasdale, who works for the Tartan Army magazine. He wants to know, Willie, do you think Scotland will beat Israel?
John, I hope Scotland beat Israel. Is there any Israeli players playing anywhere in the world? Do you know of any?
There's 2 that play at Celtic at the moment that obviously we know because they're in the Scottish League. But in terms of high-profile players playing in major leagues, I'm not aware of as many as there were years ago with the likes of Benayoun. So you're right. I think there's definitely a few unknowns in there.
I think we'll win. I hope we'll win. Had a Parliament down. He's one of the Tartan Army, Bill McKenzie. Bill was over here playing golf with me a couple of weeks ago. And for his sake, I hope they win. Otherwise, he'd be slitting his wrists. We've got to beat Israel. We've got to beat Israel. So can only keep our fingers crossed. I don't see why not.
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those games where on paper Scotland should win, but as you know as well as I do, when Scotland should win, that's when things tend to go wrong.
It's difficult. We've said it's difficult for the Scottish manager, and it really is. But there's no reason. You just got to get the young lads in. You got to get the young lads in and try and get kids in that have not been. Well, they've all been coached to death, sadly. Just look at the talent, look at who can do what, and get the right blend, and forget tactics. No tactics. Just go out, enjoy themselves, let them enjoy themselves, give them freedom to play, and they'll do all right. Just give the kids their head and let them get out there and play. So I hope he does that, and I see no reason why we won't beat John. It'd be a bad night if it does. It'd be a lot of vodka got drunk if we do get beat, but we won't.
Jim has got in touch to ask, Willie, sum up the craziness of the handball rule.
We were talking about that the other night. What exactly is it, Callum? Explain it to me again.
So basically what they're saying at the moment is if an attacker is hitting a ball or whatever and it hits a defender's arm, it's a penalty kick because their arm is, as long as their arm is outstretched. So even like you see Dyer the other day, even though he's jumping and he can't see the ball, technically he has lifted his arm. That's why they've given the penalty. They've taken the deliberate side out of it. So just if it hits your hand and it's outstretched, then whether it's deliberate or not, it's given.
Well, over the last few years, I've watched a load of handballs that were penalties that weren't given because referees, it's absolutely been crazy. Some of them, if you know the rules, just keep your hands out of the way. I mean, if you jump up and you've got your hands all over the place, the likelihood if the ball is going to be kicked up, it's going to hit your hand. They're not daft. I mean, 90% of defenders who hand the ball is deliberate. Without a doubt, it's deliberate. Oh, they jump up and put... It's deliberate. So, it's like VAR. I mean, there's VAR. What a farce. It's crazy. I don't want to be watching it. They must have Stevie Wonder watching it. Again. It's ridiculous. Goal line technology, as I've said before, yes. Is the ball over the line or is it not over the line? That's simple. And the technology will tell you that. But you're back to a referee and lineman making a decision. The guy in the VAR's making a decision, just the same. Even with the benefit of looking at it, they're still getting them wrong. So does it work? I'm not so sure. As I said before, and I keep saying, pay ex-players a great wage and to become referees when they finish their careers. And you'll get a far, far better standard of refereeing. Far, far better, without a doubt. Because they know what's going on. And the players, the referee know that he knows what's going on. So there'll be less... pay them properly, and they will. I mean, loads of them. They can't all stay in the game. They become referees, and it will change the game for the better.
Well, just on that, Willie, Matt Letizia has proposed that you talked there about VAR and the fact that it's referees watching the action. Matt Letizia on Twitter has suggested, could former professionals be the people watching the VAR to help the referees, or was that something that you don't think would work?
To help the referees? No, I'd get rid of the referees and just get ex-pros. Yeah, Matt's quite right. Without a doubt. You know what's happening. I know when someone's tried something deliberate. That's because because you've been there, you've done it yourself. I know when someone tries to do someone, even if they miss, and he'd be booked and said, you know, you just know what's happening because you've done it. So, yeah, ex-pros would be 1,000 times better. The referees, I mean, I listen to the geezer when they're going through these shows on Sky, and they're looking at decisions, and I can't remember his name, little referee, who was a referee, and he talks garbage, absolute garbage, because they don't know the game. They've never played the game. They've never played the game. So we've probably got a sweetie shop somewhere, and on a Saturday he's in charge of Man United against Man City. It's crazy. It is crazy, honestly. But they have so much power now. And I agree with Matt. Yeah, get rid of them. I would do away with offsides completely because it's the most controversial thing in the game. Are you offside, not offside? Oh, well, he wasn't interfering with play. Well, you shouldn't be on the pitch if you're not interfering with play. Hello, Einstein, behave. The fact that you're on the pitch, you're interfering with play. Wherever you are. And it's somebody's interpretation. You get 10 referees all give a different decision on the same incident. It's stupid. So do away with offsides. It'll open the game up. You get more flair in the game. You get more goals. It'd be 1,000 times better, and you won't get, you know, these. I think we spoke about it last time. How a linesman can watch a man kick a ball from 30 or 40 yards away, and then look up and see if the guy's offside. It's not possible. Or if you're just watching a guy, you can't see when he's kicking the ball. It's not possible. You know, they got the little flags, flag power. Anyway, and it's not their fault. It's not physically possible to see all those offside decisions, where it was or it wasn't. You only need a second to be 2 yards away past the defender when the ball's being kicked. As soon as the ball's being kicked, you only need a second to be 2 yards because you're quicker than them, especially with Maguire. You 3 yards in. Do away with it. Do away with it. In America, when I played in America, late 70s, they had the 18 yard, what was it now they had? They had the 30 yard. So you couldn't be offside. So what they instead of being from the halfway line, you know, you can be offside if you're all in one half, the halfway line's offside. They stretched it out, and it was fantastic. It was great for players. It was great for people with skill who could run with the ball, and it was just, and that was the first innovation of doing away with offsides altogether. I mean, they weren't allowed to do that, but they stretched it out and they made it a bigger playing area. So you got from your goalie to the 30-yard line, you know, in the opposite half, and it stretched the pitch out, and it was much, much better game, and less, you know, there was less incidents of offside. So that would help here as well if they didn't want to go the whole way. But I don't know, the football, these people who run football, again, you got people who never played football running football as they do. Jobs for the boys.
Lynn Cameron, big fan of the show. Hello to Lynn. She got in touch asking you about your opinion of VAR, but we've covered that. And thankfully, she sent in another question. She said, what do you like to read when you get time to relax, and who's your favourite author?
Oh, Lynn, I used to read all the time. My God, I never, wherever, even if I came in at 4 a.m, half cut, I would still get a paragraph in my book, whatever I was reading. So there's so many different authors. Wilbur Smith, I don't know if you know who he is, Lynn. Wilbur Smith wrote about South Africa and the dynasties. I used to read a lot of him. I can't remember all their names now, it's that long ago. Now it's television, Lynn. I don't have any books anymore. I can't read anymore. So just watch television. But Wilbur Smith was one of, if not my favourite. John Grisham, I liked him as well. His books were great. Stephen King, they're all coming back now. I used to have hundreds of them, and we took them all to a charity shop. That was the end of my reading career. So I hope that answers your question, Lynn.
You mentioned TV, Willie. Have you got anything in particular that you're an avid watcher of?
I kind of control by what my wife Kay watches. And I'm sure that happens all over the world. If I try to get sport on. We watch a lot of these documentaries, and we watch a lot. God, there's so many things on. I love the detective things, the true ones from America. You know, the ones from America. I mean, I've watched thousands of those. All the true stories of what happened and whatever. So, but obviously I watch the golf. Is the main thing, and a bit of football, but mainly golf. So, but yeah, loads of whatever Kay's watching. I mean, she has it tied to her wrist, the control. She has it taped on to her wrist. She's not here, you can tell. She's outside, so I can say what I want.
Back to football, and Grant Campbell has got in touch to ask, should Manchester United sign James Tarkowski, the centre-back from your former club, Burnley?
Grant, I would sign anybody that's a centre-back. Anybody. So, yes, he'd be an improvement. We don't have any centre-backs. Half the one in my day, but they're terrible. They're terrible. We just paid 90 million for a guy, and he's so average. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So yes, I would have a go at anyone. I don't care who it is. And a left back. We need a left back badly. So I just, I don't know who's out there. I've not seen all the other teams play. I've not seen people play, so I can't say who they should buy. I really don't know. I just know who we should get rid of. So we'll see.
The last 4 questions are all from the same person today. They're from Michael Kieran's. Big fan of the show, big fan of yourself. I forgot to ask 2 of Michael's questions a few weeks ago, so apologies, Michael. We'll get to those questions first. First one being, did you ever play against Sir Stanley Matthews in your early playing career?
I did. Stanley was at the end of his career then. And way back, 1963, I remember. In fact, he was the first. One of the things that we used to do in Scotland for the Scottish fortnight was you got a bus to Blackpool, and it's the first time I'd been out the village, and we went to Blackpool for the Blackpool eliminations, and my brother-in-law Davy took me to watch Blackpool, and Stanley was playing. He was the only one I'd ever heard of. So. And then I was fortunate. Obviously I met him quite a few times after that. He had a place in Tenerife where I had a place, and we met up, had a bit of dinner. He was a lovely guy, great player, and a lovely man.
Next question from Michael. Did the serious eye injury genuinely cause you problems as the doc claimed? And is the sight still okay today, or did it have ongoing issues?
It was serious, Michael, much more serious than I thought at the time. As you know, it was a tennis ball that came off the edge of the racket. I was just practicing, but just warming up. I'm going to play a match. And it came off the edge of my racket, and it went into an oval like an egg shape, and the point of it hit me in the eye. And knock me out. And I said, I'll be all right. Anyway, I went to hospital and they kept me in. And I was supposed to be going off to Mallorca on holiday. And they kept me in. And then they said I had to stay there. I couldn't move because both my eyes were just blood. They're not, you couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything. And eventually, when it cleared, they discovered that I had detached retinas. The incident had detached the retinas in both the eyes. One really bad, the one it hit in both sides, and the other one. So then I had to get an operation, which was different again, which, believe me, worried me sick. Did it affect me? Yeah, for a while, because it took a long time to get over it. They were very. It was one of he was called Emmanuel Rosen, and he was a pioneer of laser treatment, and he sealed the retina with the laser. But he said, obviously, for a while, that I had to be careful with movement. He didn't want it to tear again, because if it tore again, I'd lose my sight. So yeah, for a little while. Certainly not to head a ball, which I didn't anyway. So I don't have any problems with senility at the moment, but I never headed the ball anyway. I used to just duck. So, but it didn't affect it. The thing that affected me that season was that I started playing and I hadn't been able to train. You know, I was completely unfit, and it was a long slog. So, but and to this day, no, I just normal, apart from when I miss a 3-foot putt, I can't blame my eyes for that, right enough. It's not affected me. I wish I could claim it has when I missed the putts, but it hasn't. So, fortunately, and I say I've got to thank Manny Rosen. Manny, if you're still out there, babe, you did a great job.
The next one he wants to know is a question about Bolton Wanderers and playing at Bolton. He wants to know, did you enjoy playing with Peter Thompson, and did you often switch wings with him?
We never switched wings. I love playing with Tomo. Tomo was a great left winger, absolutely brilliant. Come from Liverpool, of course. Ended up, I think he had a caravan park when he retired. Great lad, absolutely lovely guy, great player, one of the great players. No, it was a privilege. Tom in one wing, me in the other wing, and Frank Worthington in the middle. We weren't too shabby there. So I've not heard anything from Peter for a long time. But it was a great team then. Bolton had a great team then, and a great manager. Ian Greaves was brilliant.
The last question today is on another of your former clubs. This time it's on Blackpool. How good was it to play with Bolly at Blackpool, albeit under tough circumstances? And had you ever played with him before?
No, we played against each other. As I've said before, my two greatest friends in the game were Alan Ball and Jim McCalliog. And Bolly and I mated around together for many, many years. When he went to Everton, and he lived up in Worsley, and obviously we met up all the time, used to go out all the time together. And when he got the Blackpool job, I was in America. He came to America, and I was going to come back, and I had a choice, I think I've said, to go to either Leeds or to Man City. And anyway, Bolly came out and convinced me it was a great idea to go to Blackpool. So I said, well, what division are they in, Alan? He said, well, it doesn't matter. Well, you'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'll get some other players there and we'll be fine. And so I did, as I did. I let my heart rule my head. And unfortunately, it didn't work. The club were lovely. The club were great. And little Ken Chapman, the chairman, lovely little guy. They were all nice people, but the players weren't too clever. I mean, they could stand a yard away from you and pass it 5 yards wide of you to you. So they weren't the best. And then, of course, as you know what happened, Alan got the bullet, and then I left. I had no interest in staying there after Alan left. But the club itself, yeah, they were lovely. As most people were back in those days. The people that ran the clubs and that, they were all very, very nice. So, do I regret going? Yes, I do. I should have went to Man City.
And in terms of this show, I have to be honest with you, Willie, it flies in every single week, 45 minutes, gone in the blink of an eye. And we've got a guest coming on in our next show. We're going to be joined by the esteemed football writer and former FWA president, and that's going to be Patrick Barclay, who's written the book on Sir Matt Busby. So get your questions in for Patrick and, of course, Willie on our next show.
Oh, I look forward to seeing Patrick. I've not seen him. I did a thing on BT TV a few years back when my book came out, and Patrick was there with me. Great guy, great writer, great. He's brilliant. I do rate him very, very highly. I'd like to know what he's written about Matt. I could probably tell him another 100% things about Matt that he doesn't know. So, but I look forward to it. So it'll be a good show. It'll be a good show.
It certainly will. And as always, you can follow Willie on Twitter at the Willie Morgan. You can follow myself, Callum McFadden, at Football CFB. And of course, with questions, you can tweet Willie, you can tweet myself. But if you would rather send them in an email form, then you can email me at footballcfb@gmail.com. But as always, thank you for supporting this show. The listening figures go up every single time we record. We've got listeners all across the globe, which is fantastic. We've even got a few listeners in Ghana, of all places. So we're doing really well with this show. It's an absolute pleasure to work with Willie, and I look forward to the future.
Do you know who is watching it on YouTube? Johnny Mathis is watching it on YouTube out in Los Angeles. Yeah, John got it on out there now. So I spoke to him last week, and I was telling him, he said, you know, what are you doing? I said, yeah, I'm doing this. Oh, I'll get it on. So you've got another one out there, Callum.
We are flying, Willie, and I'm sure it'll only continue to grow. I look forward to next time. And just before we go, have you managed to beat Alex at golf recently?
No, we played today. No, he murdered me. He's a nuisance. He's becoming a nuisance, right? So we're playing again on Thursday. So just about now, when we finish, I'm going out. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to pop back out. Having played this morning, I'm going to pop back out again and just try something. So, no, Alex is killing me. But he's a good golfer. You know, he fantastic golfer, the lad. So it's terrible when you're grandkids and when you're kids. I mean, that's the reason I gave up tennis when my daughter started giving me a hiding. And now my grandson is giving me a hiding at golf. So I don't want to give the golf up though, Callum. I'd be lost without the golf.
Well, until next time, hopefully you beat Alex, and everyone listening, please take care.
And you take care.